PDF, and the application and simplification of problem with the help of conditional PDF. You will really see that very complicated kind of problem can be easily solved with the help of conditional PDF, and total probability theorem. Those things will come in together, because conditioning is all that it is helping to get maximum application of total probability theorem, and that also leads to a total expectation theorem as well. So those things we will see in this lecture. So coming to content of this lecture, first I would like to discuss about conditional PDF, how we define it, and you can simply see that it has been borrowed from that conditional probability mass function. The criteria is similar. In the similar fashion, you can define conditional probability density function. Afterward, I will talk about the application of conditional probability density function in order to calculate probability by using total law of probability. Or again, in the similar fashion, if you are willing to calculate expectation of a given continuous random variable, then sometimes it might be very complicated due to irregular structure of the PDF. So what you do, you if you try to zoom it out to PDF further, you will see that some if you introduce some kind of conditioning over that random variable, then your job would be simpler. So that kind of approach we will see it here with the help of conditional probability density function. Afterward, I will talk about one specific example regarding metro train, that waiting time for metro train. It is a very famous problem, celebrated problem. So we will solve it through the conditional probability density function, and how we can find the expectation and variance, and many different kind of things we can find. Also, we need to find distribution. First criteria would be that how to find distribution for waiting time for a metro train. If you are arriving your nearby metro station, then definitely it is not like that exactly you will arrive at the time of what one metro train. It is not like that. Sometimes you may come before metro, sometimes you may come after metro, then you have to wait for next metro train. So that's where definitely waiting there would be waiting time, and we need to find what is the distribution of waiting time. And here, if you know conditioning very well, then easily you can solve that problem. And if time permit, then I will go to discuss about joint distribution. Otherwise, we will start in next class. Okay, so coming to that first part, that conditional probability density function and what is the definition. So first, I told that I will borrow it from conditional probability mass function. So how we can define it like this way. So suppose we are having a continuous random variable x, okay, and we are having an event a. So we are putting conditioning on a. That means we have already seen a, we know about the information of a. So once you are having information of a, then can we see that what would be density of x. So if x is a continuous random variable, and the density of x would be definitely given to you, and otherwise you can calculate it, it would be known to you. Okay, so it is just what we call it prior kind of things in prior. But apart from that experiment, that prior information, someone is saying that one event is occurring. That means you got additional information, that additional partial information. So once you are getting a partial information, based on that there would be update in the density of x. So that updated density, we are calling it conditional density. That means we are finding the density of x condition on the event a, what you have already seen or you have already observed. Okay, so this density would be totally different from the prior density or actual density. Okay, so this would be totally different from actual density. And here different in sense that not much difference. You will see that the given density, initial density of x would be, if you normalize it with the probability of this event, then you will get this conditional density similar to what conditional probability mass function. Okay, so coming to define conditional probability density function. So the conditional probability density function of a continuous random variable, where we put conditioning over an event a. That means we are observing event a, and that event A is having a positive probability, means A definitely occurs. It is not like that A is an impossible kind of event. A definitely occurs. Then conditional probability of X given A, it can be defined as like this way, that what at the very beginning of probability density function I had already told that probability density function is talking about what? It is talking about probability per unit length. If you're talking about for single random variable, then probability density function is talking about probability per unit length. So if you multiply probability density function with infinitesimal width of the length any subinterval, then it becomes a probability. So it is a probability, we are talking about probability. So this situation, so if you try to see, so it becomes a what? It becomes a conditional probability. So we are observing X is a random variable. We were talking about right now. So this point would be what we call it, suppose this point is X and this point is X plus delta. This situation is coming. So and width of this subinterval is delta, width of sub. So here we are observing over here only. So in this case, in fact, this one is infinitesimal case where delta is very small. So here in this we can simply say that the density, if you multiply with the delta, it is a conditional what? Conditional probability. And conditional probability we are defining it like this way. That means joint occurrence of X, that observed value between X to X plus delta, and occurrence of A. So divide by probability of A, because we had already seen the occurrence of A. That's why this is simply conditional probability. What we are saying, that it is definition from conditional probability. Now further, if you try to see it, X is a what? It is a given random variable with density F. So we can easily express this probability in term of density of X. So in term of density of F, then we can divide this conditional probability in two scenario. One scenario, it is talking about joint occurrence of X and A. So suppose if there is a common thing, that means X X is taking from this interval, also X is coming from A. In that situation, there is a common thing, that means this joint probability would be non-zero. And this joint probability easily you can calculate, as we know that X is falling in this interval X to X plus delta, and X is also X is observing value, some value from that occurred event A. So we can say that this joint probability is what? It is just a product of density, the density times delta, that width of that subinterval. Okay, so when X is present in A. Okay, so through this scenario we had divided. If suppose X, there is no common thing between this event and this event, that means we don't observe in another scenario. If suppose there is no common element between this event, X belongs to A, and X is falling between X and X plus delta. If there is no common element, then this joint event would be what? Phi, a probability of phi is 0. So that's why in that case, if X is not, if there is no common element between this and this, then in that case we can simply say that this probability will be 0. So and hence this ratio would be 0. Now further, if you try to see this and this, here delta is common in order of approximation, so we can cancel delta both sides. And after that, what we are getting? We are getting an explicit definition of conditional probability density function. That one is what? It is a ratio of original density function of X divided by probability of A, that A is already occurred when X is also present in that occurred event A. That means our here this simply say that our new sample space happens to be A. That always I used to say that when you apply conditioning, then your sample space has been modified. The partial conversion what you are having at hand, that would be your new sample space. So from that segment, you are not looking outside that A. So outside A, if X is if some X which is not in A, it is from outside A. For that perspective, the conditional density would be 0. We are why? Because we don't want to look outside A, because our A was the given information, partial information. That's why we have to confine up to a only. We are introducing conditioning on a, so that's why we have to confine up to a only. So that's why this is the definition of conditional PDF. And if you try to see from the functional structure, you can easily see that here probability of a is given to you. You know about a, so probability of a would be also known to you. So that means probability of a, it is a constant number. So what we do, so in the density, there is a density of x, and we normalize it by the probability of a. So normalization is occurring. That means shape of the conditional PDF would be similar to what kind of shape f of that original density is having in the particular set A. Same shape, but only difference would be that that density might have been raised, height might have been raised. So if pictorially, if you want to see that, suppose you are having a distribution random variable x with this density, this is the density. Now what you do, suppose you have already observed this event A. That means you have already observed the value of x which falls between number A and B, and that means you are putting conditioning on A. That means you don't want to go away from A. So due to that, you are getting a conditional PDF, and this conditional PDF, you can say that this shape is just matching with the original shape of the density. Okay, only difference is that this conditional density has been raised uh, by some amount of height. Why? Due to this normalizing term, that one is coming in the definition, some amount of height. So always it would be raising. You can't say that it will go behind. If you put in conditioning, though this conditional density can't go behind. Why? Anyone may answer why it won't go behind? Because this probability, it is always a fraction lies between 0 to 1. So this quantity would be what, less than 1, less than 1 or greater than 0. So that means if you are taking in denominator, then suppose you are taking p of a is 0.5, that means 1 by 2. Then if you take 1 by 2, if you simplify, then 2 will go up, and it will be multiplied with twice this density, so it becomes twice of density. So always there would be raising kind of approach. So raise, height would be raised. Okay, so that one was the concept of a conditional probability density function. And now I will talk about one interesting kind of application of conditional PDF to what we call it exponential random variable. So if you are taking an exponential random variable, we know that exponential random variable, it is a continuous random variable, and the density of exponential random variable, it is defined like this way. It is exponential in nature for positive non-negative value of 0. So it is coming like this way: lambda times e to the power minus lambda x when x is observing positive value, non-negative, we can say that g greater than equal to 0, and otherwise it is 0. That means when x is in negative, less than 0, then the density is 0. So this is the density always must be non-negative. That's why we are putting such kind of condition. So this is exponential density of exponential random variable. Now we will see that it is having very interesting kind of property. That property we are calling it memorylessness property, and relatively you can find expectation of, sorry, CDF of this uh, exponential random variable. So easily, so in place of finding CDF, what you do, find 1 minus CDF of this one. So that what we call it here, 1 minus CDF of x, this exponential random variable, that we are calling it probability of tail. So we denote it what? It is actually probability that x is greater than equal to, x is observing value after x, a small x, and it can be, probability of tail can be easily expressed in term of exponential function, lambda to the power e to the power minus lambda time x. So this one is the probability of tail. This derivation I had already discussed a lot during that exponential random variable, so I should write it in clearly. Okay, so this relation is really interesting. In place of a probability up to x, what you do? Probability, take probability after x. So that we are calling probability of right tail. So that one is taking exponential form. So we will take benefit of this representation in order to see memorylessness property of exponential random variable. So question is coming like this way. So a one question I am taking it just in order to understand further. So Alvin goes to a bus stop where the time t between two successive buses has an exponential distribution, like so bus 1 and bus 2. So time which is distributed exponentially between any two bus 1 and bus 2, you can see that like that. Okay, any two bus with parameter lambda. Lambda is the parameter, also it is given. Okay. Now, suppose that Alvin arrived t second after the preceding bus arrives. Okay, suppose bus 1 is arriving at this juncture. After that arrival, uh, here call it t, after t second, Alvin is arriving at the bus stop. Okay, then he can't catch the first bus because it has already went. Okay, it has already proceeded, has went. So here, that Alvin has to wait for second bus. So this would be waiting time. What would be the waiting time? T greater than t. Capital T is greater than t. That would be waiting time. So with the fact that we denote it, that means event is given that t is greater than t. That one is the event as a waiting time to wait for second bus, next bus. Better call it next bus, second. So what is that? We have to find the distribution of. We have to see the CDF first. We will find. So let x be the time that Alvin has to wait for the next bus. X, we are saying that it is a random variable. Definitely x would be in term of t. This waiting time between that time duration, time elapsed between any two successive buses. So x would be definitely in term of capital T. So consider x be the time that Alvin has to wait for the next bus arrival. So we have to find the density, the conditional density of x, because a and a is already occurred. That means Alvin arrives once one first bus have already has already left. So that's why waiting time will start there. So that's where we know about this event. If we are having this scenario, this information, based on that we have to find the CDF, conditional CDF of x. So that is this we have to find it. So how we can find it? So conditional CDF, it is directly dealing with what? Conditional probability. So conditional CDF, in order to calculate conditional CDF of x, that means it will simply say that what does it in term of probability. You can say that it is talking about conditional random variable a x given a, it is taking value up to x. So this scenario you can say this you want to calculate, or you can write it like this way. If it doesn't look good, then you can write it like this way. Probability that x is observing value x condition on a. This is a better notation in place of. Okay, both are having equal meaning. So so if you are willing to calculate this one, so we want calculate this probability up to x condition by a. So what we will calculate in place of that, we will calculate right tail probability. Why? Because it is taking exponential formula. That's why we will calculate this one. After that we will get back this original word density, what cumulative distribution result, what has been asked. Okay, so here we are calculating conditional, that means uh, reciprocal of this one is the what? It is simply we are talking about right tail probability in condition by a. So it is defined as like that, probability that x is observing value greater than x given a. Okay, so how we define it? So it is all about probability. So conditional probability, so from the definition of conditional probability, it will talk about joint occurrence of x greater than x and t greater than t. A is what? A is talking about t greater, capital T is greater than t. So it is talking about joint occurrence of this one, and divided by that occurrence of a. That occurrence of a is what? Probability that t is greater than t. Okay, now if we try to see in this again, uh, what x is talking about waiting time. It is actually your waiting time. So x will, so if you are started at this point and arrive at this point, from here your waiting time will start. So if suppose you arrive here, what would be the point here? Up to this, this one was the waiting time x, and this time was t. At t you had already arrived, so this point would be just t plus x, t plus x. So this one x is talking about distribution of waiting time. So here at t you arrive, and after that your waiting time will start afterward, after t. So that's where this time would be what? T plus x. So here we are talking about, we can express this x greater than a small x, that waiting time, in term of t, what I told that. So it would be what, it would be equivalent to, equivalent to, I would like to say that t is greater than t plus x. X is the waiting time. So at t you had already arrived, so this x greater than x has been converted into t greater than t plus x, and this one is, there is no issue, this one is a given thing. Okay, we know that. So now what we common, what we see common between joint occurrence of these two events. So here if you observe that here, suppose Alvin arrived at time t, then afterward time we will call it, we are calling it t for next bus, call it bus 1, bus 2. Afterward time we are calling it t greater than t. Okay, uh, and likewise there is a waiting time. So here it would be t, we denote it by x. So here what is this time, this afterward time up to second bus, it would be t greater than t plus x with respect to this one. Okay, so what common thing we observe between t greater than t and t greater than t plus x? We observe that this is the common region. This is the common region. That's way joint occurrence of t greater than t plus x and t greater than t, it would be just t greater than t plus x. Joint, this common region. So this joint property is equal to this property, that t greater than t plus x, and divided by property that t greater than t. Okay, now we know, I told that here x is distributed, t is distributed exponentially. So what does it mean? So it means that simply CDF, what does it talk about? Right tail probability, right tail probability, it would be what? It would be equal to e to the power negative of negative lambda times t plus x. Okay, and what would be this probability? This probability would be e to the power lambda times t. So we know that exponential, it will be, you can break it into product of exponential. So here e to the power lambda time t and e to the power lambda time t both would cancel out. Only we will have e to the power lambda, e to the power uh, minus lambda time x. Only we will have, this is the simplified version. So what does this? We can easily see that it is totally independent of this a, we don't see occurrence of t here. It is totally expressed in term of x, that waiting time. It is not involving t, that arrival time t at which time Alvin is arriving, t second, at t second Alvin is arriving. So it is totally independent of that. Okay, so we can say that here there is a memoryless. So it is totally independent of where when you are arriving. So here your exponential, that waiting time is also exponentially distributed. It is exponentially distributed. Okay, so how much waiting time it will go, so that distribution will be expressed in that exponential of that. So thus we can say that the conditional CDF of x is exponentially distributed with parameter lambda regardless of the time t, that at which you have already arrived. And that means at what does means, you are arriving at time t, that means t time, t second before the first bus has been left. So that we are calling it time elapsed. Okay. time elapsed of the bus process, that first bus which has already arrived before your arrival. So that we are calling it. It is totally independent of that. So we simply, it is memorylessness property what we are calling it. Now I will talk about further thing regarding conditional PDF and its application to find probability by using total probability law. How we can find it? So this one is coming like this way. So consider we are having a sample space whose partition has been partitioned into n number of disjoint events a1, a2, an. Okay, these are the partition of sample space. Okay, okay. So what we will see, that means we are having information about probability of occurrence of these disjoint events a1, a2, a2. We know that probability of that one because this partition either it would be given from the problem or you can come up with your own approach. So by seeing the problem easily you can judge what would be the partition there in that problem and what would be the partition of the sample space. Easily you can judge it through example. I will clear it how it would, we can come up with that. So if you are having this partition of sample space, so what we do, so if you are defining a random variable over that sample space or over that random experiment, then we can break that random variable through conditioning through conditioning on this disjoint event, and we can take weighted sum and the total weighted sum of that those conditional density would be equal to the actual density. So if you try to see the derivation of this one, it is not much difficult one. You can derive it from law of total probability. What was the law of total probability? It says that here it is a sample space, and what you do, you are having a partition of that sample space. You partition it into n member a1, a2, it will go up to an this. And also you are having prior probability of prior this ai, you know that probability of these members, and these are greater than equal to greater than 0. That means each partition is having positive probability. Simply I would like to say that. Then if you are taking suppose some event a is occurring, call it a, some event a is occurring. So how we can find the probability of a in terms of probability of ai? So it would be simple to find probability of a by applying multiplication rule, or you can say that if you are having partition of this sample space, and the partition of sample space also introduce partition of the event a. So due to that, calculating observing what kind of partition a would have, through that you can easily calculate, and directly I am writing it. I want to waste much time here. So it will come like this way: probability that a intersection ai I varies from 1 to 1 to n. Okay, and here just you apply that multiplication rule. Through that it will be converted into, we know that ai occur, it came from the problem, or it is our convention. So that means occurrence of ai is coming first. So that's why probability of ai will come, probability of ai will come times, afterward we try to observe a. So conditional probability of a given ai will come. So this is the this is the law of total probability, what we are calling it. What you do here, this is probability, and if you try to express in terms of density, so if you just confine to a very small subinterval of width delta, and here you define an event like this way: x is observing value between x and x plus delta. This kind of event defined, so that you will come to see that event we always put in set theory form, or we can put in curly bracket. What I would like to say that, so you can convert it like here, that this would be approximated by density times density of x times delta, that's width. I'm talking about this particular subinterval. It is a specific subinterval. Likewise, in the right hand side also it will be what? There would be no issue change in here. The property of AI, this prior property. Only thing is that we will express this one in term of conditional property, because conditioning is appearing here. So it would be what? It would be conditional property of x given AI of x. Simply I am writing it x. You can write it here also x given a, but that one is very much understood. You don't need to write it. Just here this one would be sufficient to say that it is a conditional property conditioned by AI. So it would be just clear from here, and times delta. So if you cancel delta and delta from here, you will get this result. Very simple derivation. It is directly coming from total law of probability, or total probability theorem also, you can say that. Now we will go to generalize further to talk about total expectation law. So total expectation law is what? Again, it is again generalized from total probability theorem. Derivation I will discuss in the similar fashion, because here what is the expectation of x, how we define it. So definition says that here, remember that we are dealing with continuous random variable. So the expectation will be defined in term of integral. So we are integrating the product of x and density function from minus infinity to infinity. So this is the definition of expectation. So now in place of this uh, density of x, what you do, substitute this one, what you got it from total probability theorem, substitute this one. So if you are substituting this one, then you will see that it will be converted into this. So proof is very simple, you can try yourself. Just for practice, you can try yourself. Just substitute this density with this representation, right hand side representation, and you will get this law of total expectation. Easily you will get it. So again, what we do, if you see in left hand side, it is talking about the original distribution of the given random variable, continuous random variable. This one is talking about that total expectation of the given random variable. Okay, but if you try to see in right hand side, in right hand side representation, what we see, we see simple notation that we go partition wise, we go what, conditioning wise. So conditioning, we have introduced conditioning. So why we are introducing conditioning? So definitely there would be some kind of easy structure or simple structure. Due to that we are introducing conditioning, and due to that conditioning, our calculation becomes simple. So that's why we are going for this conditioning approach. Similarly, if you are uh, trying to find expected value of a function of a random variable g of x, then same criteria. So simply it will, second will imply the third one. So there is no much difficulty in deriving this result. Easily you can derive it from here. You can derive. So all these results are based on what? Two things. One is conditioning, another one is total probability theorem. So combining these two, you will get all these three results. Now all these three results, it looks simple, but how much application and beautiful application you will see in the problem. So here we are taking a problem like we are finding mean and variance of a piecewise constant probability density function. So suppose we are having a random variable, continuous random variable with piecewise constant density function, then how we can find mean and variance of that random variable? Easily by introducing conditioning. So consider a random variable with PDF. Here it is taking PDF taking 1 by 3 when x is observing value 0 to 1. It is taking, the PDF is taking 2 by 3 when x is observing value between 1 to 2, and the PDF is taking value 0. That means when x is observing value outside the interval 0 to 2. So three branches we observe. So it is like so it is 1 by 3 when x is observing value 0 to 1. If you want to write in the form of branch, it is observing value density is 2 by 3 when x is observing value between 1 to 2, and otherwise it is 0. Otherwise it is 0. So this one is the branch notation. Just to save the space, I had written in line. Otherwise, okay. So this is the density of the given random variable. Now we are calculating the mean and variance. Okay, so how we can calculate? Before going to calculate mean and variance, try to see the pattern of density. So in the density is having very beautiful pattern that it is piecewise constant. So in the interval 0 to 1, it is taking 1 by 3, it is constant, that it is coming like this way. So you can plot the density of this one. So x along horizontal line, f of x along vertical line. So here one one would be here, two would be here. Okay. So between 1 to 2 density is height of density is 1 by 3. It is 1 by 3. That means it is coming up to this one. After 1, that means from 1 to 2, the height is 2 by 3. So it is coming like this way. Height is 2 by 3. And outside this interval, it is 0. Outside, after 2, it is 0. Before 0, it is 0. So it is coming like this way. This is the density. You can say that plot is coming like that. You can put it here better way for better visualization in order to. So it is, this is the density plot of the given random continuous random variable. Now we can easily observe that the density is having two kind of pattern. One pattern, it is having height 1 by 3 when x is observing value between 0 to 1, and when x is observing value between 1 to 1, 1 to 2, then x height is 2 by 3. So two patterns. So here we can define event that A, which is observing value to between 0 to 1, and define another event B, which is observing value to between 1 to 2. So that's why we are defining or A1 and A2. Given A1 and A2, we are defining two events. So we did simply, also you can say that you did partition of the sample space. So A1 is that x is observing value between 0 to 1, and A2 is x is observing value between 1 to 2 due to this pattern of density. Okay, from there easily you can derive what is the property of A1. It would be just 1 by 3. You can define the derive the property of this A1. What you have to integrate the corresponding density from 0 to 1. If you integrate the density, the value would be 1 by 3. Now, similarly, if you are willing to calculate property of A2, that means you need to integrate density from 1 to 2. If you integrate, then value would be 2 by 3. So this is the property of A2. So we are having A1, A2, and also we are having corresponding property. That means A1, A2 are defining a partition of the sample space, associated sample space. So further, with respect to this A1 and A2, we have to find the conditional PDF of X. So we are finding conditional PDF of X given A1, it would be 1. We can easily see that how we can see that, that means we need to normalize the density over the set A1. So by the probability of, so density is what? Density in A1, density is 1 by 3, and we need to over this interval or 0 to 1, or that means set A, its density is 1 by 3. And what is the probability of this event? Probability is 1 by 3. So that means we need to normalize it. What would be ratio? It would be equal to 1. So that's way the conditional density is equal to 1 by 1 for when x is taking value 0 to 1. Okay, outside 0 to 1, it is this conditional density is 0. Similarly, we can find a conditional density of x given A2. So here what we do in A2, when you observe A2, where is A2? The density, height of density is what? 2 by 3. Also probability of density, probability of A2 is also 2 by 3. So 2 by 3 will cancel out 2 by 3. cancel, remember here remaining thing is 1. So we can say that conditional density of x given a2 is also 1. Now we are having conditional density of x given a1, conditional density of x given a2. So using these two and applying the law of total probability, easily we can find conditional density of first find the conditional density of x given a1. So if you, what is meaning of this one, it is if you try to see this conditional density, it is uniformly distributed between 0 to 1 with constant height 1. So uniformly, this one is the plot of conditional density of x given a1, x given a1. Okay, and height is 1. So what would be the expectation of x? It would be just simply midpoint. It is because it is uniformly distributed. What is midpoint? 1 by 2 or 0.5. So expected, this is conditional expectation what we got it. And similarly, if you are willing to find a second order moment, conditional moment, then easily you have to what just you have to replace x by x square, and after solving you will get 1 by 3. This is the second order conditional moment. Likewise, what is first order conditional moment? That means conditional expectation of this density, it would be 3 by 2, and second moment would be, second conditional moment would be 7 by 3. These computation are very simple, you can easily calculate, but my intention is that to calculate the expectation of x indirect way. We are not directly calculating, we are calculating indirect way through conditioning approach. So expectation of x can be written as like this way, where I varies from 1 to 2, because we have performed two partitions. This one is one partition, a1 we are calling it, sample space has been partitioned into two members, a1 and a2, or both are disjoint, mutually disjoint, easily we can say that. So if you want to calculate like this way, first would be with respect to a1. So what is the probability of a1? It is 1 by 3. And what is the density, corresponding density? It would be density, it is given here we are calculating expectation. So conditional expectation will come here. So 1 by 3 times 1 by 2, that means 1 by 6. Likewise, for a2, what would be what is the probability? It is 2 by 3. And what is the expectation? It is 3 by 2. So 2 by 3 times 3 by 2, what would be value? It would be 1 times 3 by 2. So 3 will cancel out, 2 will cancel out, we will have only 1. So we are getting expectation of x is what, 1 by 6 plus 1, that means 7 by 6. So directly we are calculating by conditioning approach. So conditioning approach looks much easier. Likewise, we can calculate second moment using this conditional second moment using and value would be 15 by 9. Okay, and using second moment and first moment, we can define variance. What is the variance of any random variable in term of first moment, second moment? It is defined like this way. It is the difference of second moment and a square of first moment. That means a square of expectation. A square of expectation, we know the from the definition of variance. So using this, we know this value, this value is 15 by 9. We know this value expectation, it is 7 by 16. So we do a squaring and taking difference, and difference is coming 11 by 36. This is the variance of this random variable. So we directly calculate all these things by using conditioning. So that's why all these approach are very simple. So I will talk this example in a very fast way. After that I will wind up today's lecture. So one example is regarding waiting time for a metro train. So it is really very interesting kind of problem. It is coming like this way: the metro train arrived at a station near your home every quarter hours starting from 6 a.m. morning. So that quarter hours, that means first metro train is arriving at 6 a.m. The next would be at 6:15. The next would be at 6:30. The next would be at 6:45. The next would be at 7. So that quarter time is with the gap of 15 minutes. Simply, I would like to say. So you walk into the station every morning between 7:10 to 7:30 am. So definitely you will, if you arriving that, definitely you will miss the 7 the metro which is arriving at 7 exactly at 7. So either you have to take it metro at 7:15, or you have to take a metro next quarter of time, that one 7:30. So that thing will come. So you have to find the distribution of that. So question is, so here with the time interval being uniformly distributed, suppose your that this time distribution, it is waiting time that you have to wait, it is uniformly distributed. So you have to find the PDF of the time that you have to wait for the first train to arrive. So that you have to find what would be PDF of the waiting time for first train to arrive. Okay, up to first train to arrive. Okay, so the time of your arrival, suppose we denote it by uh, time of your arrival to the metro station, we denote it by x, and it is uniformly distributed between 7:10 to 7:30. That means you are coming between 7:10 to 7:30. That's, and it is uniformly distributed. So very nice to plot it. It is constant directly between, suppose this one is 7:10, this one is 7:30. Okay, you constant, and outside that you are just arriving between these two time. Okay, so it is constant. So what would be, so difference, what would be height would be just 1 by 20. So everything is in minute, you can see that here. So height would be 1 by 20. So here suppose we are defining why, it would be the waiting time for the first train, or waiting time for the first train. So we have to find the density of this one, what would be density of y. So in order to define density of y, we are introducing two events, because this situation is just saying that we should introduce two events, that either we can catch 7:15 train or 7:30 train. So that's one event with respect to 7:15 train, and that event we are calling that you board the train at 7:15, and that means x is here observing the value between 7:10 to 7:15. Okay, and what is the probability? If you can easily calculate, probability would be 1 by 4. And second event we are defining that suppose you could not catch 7:15 train, then definitely you will catch 7:30 train. So that means x is observing value between 7:15 to 7:30. That means you are boarding at 7:30 train. And what is the probability of that one? Probability is 3 by 4. So this probability of A and B both are known to you. So our desired density, what we need to calculate, we can bifurcate that in term of this uh, total density. Total that one is deriving from this conditioning approach. So through this conditioning approach, so we can calculate, divide. Here situation is coming like that, means there would be two scenario. Either if you are coming at 7:10, then you have to wait for 5 minutes. But if you are coming, so sometime it may possible that if you are falling in this situation, uh, in, in situation B, then what will happen? So that means you are just coming after 7:15, then you have to wait for 15 minutes. So your waiting time, it will go from 0 to 5 in one case, another case it will go from that 5 to 15, 5 to 15, like that. Or you can say that so due to that scenario, just apply this formula. Through that you will get, when y is observing value between 0 to 5, then your density would be 1 by 10. And when y is observing value between 5 to 15, then the density would be 1 by 20. So here clearly we can say that here density of y is piecewise constant. So okay, it is already above time. So in next class we will discuss about joint distribution. Regarding